How's everyone doing? It's good to see everyone.
Good to see
Great.
you.
Sure.
This movie is incredible. I love this movie. The best time now for horror movies. Like, it's the best
Yeah.
time for these to come out. This went to South by Southwest, and people are going to be able to see it on I like to call it the horror movie fans' playground, Shudder, which is really exciting. Julie, I want to start with you because I find it interesting because when I'm watching this as a viewer, two things are at play. It's a very scary supernatural horror movie. But it's more than that. It is a family movie, especially with a mother and daughter. So from a script to screen journey, what is that like? Because at some point it's on the page and then it comes to life when you film. What was that like getting that balance? Because I think that balance was done perfectly in this film. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, we knew right away from just at the script level that the entire movie kind of lives or dies by whether or not you believe this mother-daughter relationship.
Yes.
Because if you don't care about them and it doesn't feel grounded in reality, none of the horror works.
Mhm.
It just doesn't land. And so we were so fortuitous when we got Colby Minifie and Kate Burton on board, and it was just like, oh, thank God. Okay, now I know this movie's gonna work.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's incredible. And Colby, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I do find it interesting too because I know you try not to do this, but this movie really has the audience at the edge of their seat and you're figuring everything out. Are you ever conscious of the audience member watching the surrender while you were making it? Or is that something that happens a little bit after you wrap, so to speak?
I was not at all. If I mean, I'm trying to think, like, are there any moments when I'm like, I need to, no, no. I think that's honestly, that's Julia's job.
Yeah.
Like, it's Julia's job to be like, okay, what does the audience need to know at this
Yeah.
moment? What's being revealed at this moment? And there was definitely in my homework of the movie, I'm like, uh what is Megan learning at this moment that the audience is also learning, and like tracking that.
Mhm.
But that's the maximum that I do, because I mean, for me, my job is to be as present as possible to the situation in the
Mhm.
moment. And I was having a freaking blast, man. I mean,
Yeah. I just think
I
so.
just was like, yeah, go ahead.
No, I just think sometimes it's like maybe you like you that's cut on a scene and then maybe you're at like base camp or at crappie and like people are gonna get the crap scared out of them with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I there was one scene where I snuck in to watch uh someone do something in the movie. I can't reveal, but it's the opening shot of the movie, and I remember watching that being like, oh my God, this is gonna be good. But in the acting of it, in the doing of it from where I'm at, I think it does me a great disservice to to think about how
100%.
we're gonna view
That's a
it.
50-50 question. I have some people that
Yeah,
say no, some people say yes, so I keep it alive. At
yeah,
one point I was gonna retire that question because I was getting a lot of like, no, it's not my job to think about the audience. I just go and do my thing. And then it was
yeah,
just kind
yeah,
of like, oh
yeah.
no.
It's
But
a really good question,
It
though,
is.
yeah.
Pete,
Yeah.
because the thing is, as actors, I teach a lot of camera acting as well. And I always say to the students, you're not going to have Jiminy Cricket standing on your shoulder saying, hey, it's going great, or no, that really sucked and you have to do it again. I mean, and that's the thing is that ideally,
Mhm.
I think that I speak for Colby too. The work that we did, the incredible preparation that Julia had done, and then we worked together for 4 or 5 days before we started shooting. So by
Mhm.
the time we started shooting, we were already in it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? That we weren't even thinking about this moment, that moment, this moment. We were just playing the scenes that were so beautifully written. And at that point, then the more connected we are
Yes.
to each other and telling the story, the more connected the audience will be watching us. And
Absolutely.
I know for myself, if I lose myself in the character, I lose myself in the scene, then I know I'm really doing the right thing. If
Yes.
I'm if I'm very conscious of like, oh, this and that and this, but it's an excellent question
Mhm.
because listen, we're all human beings. I
Yeah.
mean, when we're acting, we're sort of a little internal, barometer is saying, oh, that's going pretty well, or that was a good line, or Colby was great in that moment, or
Yeah.
like, ooh, this seems good. Like, you know what I mean? We just can't help it.
Yeah.
But it's so thrill, and this was what was so thrilling about this experience doing this movie. Of course, we had no idea that it would sort of resonate with so many people. was just literally telling the story. Like,
Yes.
how can we tell the story the best possible way and surprise people?
Absolutely. Well, Kate, if you don't
You know
mind,
what
I
I
do
mean?
have a follow-up question because
Please.
to that. So, and I'm a filmmaker as well. I had my short horror film adjoining premiere at Screamfest at Chinese theaters in October too. So this is why I think
Fantastic.
about a lot of these things. So
Yeah.
I know, and you can answer this with a surrender, Kate, or just in general of your incredible body of work. Seriously, it's an honor and privilege to speak with you, by the way. So I just wanted to say
Right.
that. And sometimes you watch a scene and it's like 2-3 minutes of you and Colby on screen, right? But then you think about the fact that depending on the timing, that scene might have taken you, the whole day to do, right? Even though we
6 hours.
see 2-3
Yeah.
minutes, right? When
Exactly.
that happens, do those big scenes feel like their own mini movie, like mini TV show, or do they feel like an overall big part of the project? I find that very interesting.
Well, it is sort of like putting pieces together of a puzzle. I mean, in a lot of filmmaking, you might end up doing your last scene on the first day.
Yes.
We were lucky in this one in that we basically did it in order.
Okay.
So we basically let it unfold. And so that's very exciting and very thrilling and so wonderful.
Yes.
But I will say, it isn't, like I think of scenes. One of the things that I was amazed with our incredible Julia, our amazing director, is that sometimes scenes which I thought were going to be giant, huge, long scenes that would take days and days to shoot or hours and hours and hours ended up going really fast because Julia knew exactly what she wanted.
Yes.
So when we gave her what she wanted, she was like, okay, we're done, moving on to the next. And so the days were not like, some days are like 5 in the morning to 10 at night.
Yeah.
No, these were like 7 to 7, 7 to
Absolutely.
6. So we kind of felt refreshed. And it was an incredible place to go to work every day. It was very joyful, even though we were telling this very intense story. And that, for me, I learned so much from that experience alone of like, you can do this intense work, but you can do it with joy.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that was the
No,
experience
that is so
for me.
well said. I do have a question for Julia, then Colby, and then we'll wrap it up. Julia, I started this interview off. I mean, it is an incredible time for horror movies right now. And they have always been around, but there are new ways to scare people. There's so much creativity that goes into it. I know with this film, you have a task at hand with Surrender to make the best movie you can scare. You're focused on that, right? But I'm wondering if you think about the landscape of horror movies right now. Is there a little bit of pressure? Do you think about it? Does it excite you that they've always been around, but there's such a big appetite for that genre right now? I'm just wondering if you thought about that for the production of Surrender.
Oh, I'm so thrilled by where we currently are with horror. I think it really is taking off, and there's so many different subgenres that are really coming out and really getting like slow burn horror. I absolutely love, and I feel like we're kind of in the heyday of that right now.
Yeah.
And there are so many fantastic filmmakers out there, and it's incredibly inspiring.
Yeah.
I don't look at it as competitive. I feel like, you know, Relic came out. That was another kind of
Yeah.
mother-daughter horror and like slow burn. And, I think there's always that part of you that can go like, oh, is this going to compete with mine? But I'm like, no, that's a fantastic film. It's totally different. And I'm so thrilled that was made because I think it proves that this can work too.
It's
You
funny
know?
you mentioned slow burn because this one was a tricky one because even when there were those slow burn setup moments, I still felt scared and uncomfortable. And like that usually doesn't happen a lot with those movies, but I think that's a credit to everyone here. But super quick, Colby, I just wanted to ask. So we established that, the horror movie world is a big world, this big scale world, right? You worked on The Boys on Prime Video, big scale world, big fandom worldwide. Horror movies have big fans all over the world. Do you feel like your experience with, The Boys and seeing kind of the success, the popularity worldwide kind of helped you maybe like prepare to kind of work a little bit in the horror movie genre, so to speak? Because that's also a big, crazy world as well. I'm curious if you think about those two projects.
Huh. I hadn't thought of it like that, but yeah, I mean, I guess it did. For me, the beautiful thing about making this is it didn't feel big. It felt really intimate,
Yes.
which is I really loved because being on the set of The Boys is actually so big and intimidating and like, you know, so much money and like, whoa, like this was like every crew member was so committed, so essential. We had producers on their hands and knees scrubbing stuff after one of the scenes we had where everybody was in a certain kind of makeup, and you know, everybody was fully committed, full hands-on. And because the script, because I mean the amount of cast we have is very small, and it is such an intimate story, it felt really intimate. And so the fact that it's, you know, that it had such a great response at South by Southwest, that people are really connecting to it, that it's going to be on Shudder, is a beautiful ending to this story. I mean,
Right.
it's very exciting that people are going to get to experience it on a grand scale, because the making of it was really personal and intimate. Yeah.
May 23rd on Shudder. I'm usually not wrong about these. I don't mess around with horror. This is a good one. This is an amazing one. This is going to be in a lot of, you know, 2025 horror movie lists when people do their list. It's going to be on ours on popternative.com. Congratulations to you all, Julia, Kate, Colby. So great chatting with you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Pete.
Such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.